This is going to be our first, but not our last, looking at and reviewing previously enjoyed equipment. We have one of my favorite speakers, the PROAC Tablette 3s. How does it compete in today's world? Let's give our take and see if it is a good buy. So how I acquired these speakers was from a previous client and now a friend of mine. He saved these. I remember he said he mentioned these. I think he saved like 6 months to buy these speakers way back in the day, brand new. And it was time he decided to finally let them go and upgrade. So I'm glad we have them here today. Maybe I'll make it part of my collection.
Yeah, you know what, Kurt? That's a pretty good story. Maybe I could keep it going. Released in the early 90s, the Tablette 3s feature a 4-inch bass driver, a 19mm cloth or soft dome tweeter, 8-ohm, a bi-wire as well, and up to 80 watts. The really interesting part about these as well, it actually has their original price tag at $13.95 Canadian. The Tablette 3s feature a bird's eye maple veneer and a really solid wood construction.
I do like the size of this. I'm a big fan of mini compact or stand mount type speakers. Little details that I noticed too as well is I like the little things like how they did it in here. There's a piece of foam. I remember back during that time, the 90s, there's companies that would sell a little ring piece that you put around that was made out of foam, and to improve dispersion characteristics and also improve imaging in your speakers. You know, it's kind of neat how they incorporated it in that speaker, and I haven't really seen much like that today.
The other really interesting feature about these Tablette 3s, it features the copper phase plug,
which is found in a lot of the even in the newer signature PROAC speakers today.
The overall performance of the Tablette 3s in the bass department, as you can maybe guess, they're a little bit thin. They're really meant for a really small room or an addition of a sub. When it comes to the mid-range and the high frequencies, extremely well detailed and clean.
Like a lot of small monitors, the speakers just disappear in the room. Soundstage was quite pinpoint. Did a good job in just focusing all the instruments, everything was. The thing I would have to say is that compared to some of maybe the newer stuff today, it may not have as much depth. It was still good. I've heard stuff with a little bit more depth. Other than that, like this, I love the presentation of it.
We performed our classic dB volume test on the Tablette 3s. At the low listening level, around 60 decibel conversation level, they had a really nice presentation. I found they filled the room really well. Bass, of course, is not very present. The mid-range and the highs were really distinctive.
Low level of detail was exceptional on the speaker. I think it's due to what I really noticed, the articulation in the speaker is so good across the whole band. When you listen to it at those low levels, every texturing, it still picks it up very well.
When it came to measuring them at their peak, we took it a little bit easy because I want these speakers.
Why do you even like them? Doesn't even have that much bass.
Anyhow, we reached a peak of 83 decibel before they started to really kind of lose on their performance.
We were a little bit more gentle on these speakers. When we did push it a little bit, and at that 83 decibels. Of course, you're not going to get this bass that's just going to pressurize or fill the room. However, at that point, the soundstage and articulation was still very good.
When it came to listening to the Tablet 3s, should I say, like, I fell in love. Just like the AccuPhase.
I don't know.
When it came to listening to the Tablet 3s, we really enjoyed it. We listened to all sorts of music. 2 songs that really stood out for us, Ray Barbie and the Matheson 2, Canoe and You. What I really love about this song is just really soft. It's flowing through. It's like all the instruments are not too pronounced, but they're really well presented. I found with the Tablet 3s, there was really nice detail and imagery.
One thing that stood out on this track is the staging. It did an exceptional job. When they played the electric guitar in there, it is precisely where it should be. It was not right in front of the speaker. It was between the middle where the horns are, and you could distinctly tell it was just slightly right behind. And it was neat because it had so much articulation, because in this track you can tell that they're not amping up the mic on this electric guitar because of the detail and the refinement and articulation. It was able to still pick up all the nuances in that track. It just created a really nice effect.
The second song we listened to was Phil Collins' I Don't Care Anymore. The really interesting part about this song is it really sounds like it was recorded on a speaker that sounds exactly like this.
Or very similar, yeah.
One thing I kind of wish the Tablet 3s had a little bit more of is bass. It just doesn't have a lot, but it's kind of to be expected. The one thing I did notice though is all the instruments are extremely accurate and lifelike. Another thing I noticed, it really had a nice airiness to it. You could really feel the size of the stage.
In this track, it's quite difficult because what they're trying to do is they're setting up the sound where he's behind the drums singing as long as playing the drums. So what you have is you have the drums and all the parts spread across the soundstage between the left and the right speakers. Now it did a really good job creating that illusion that they were going for, and when they were playing, you can distinctly hear each and every part. The one thing is I would have to say is just because I said there was not the most deepest speaker, you couldn't really get that percentage of depth where you had the drums and then him her playing there. I think that was the only one thing, but it was still very good. One thing I noticed is the speed and the timing was just excellent on the speaker, especially on the drums. From the initial attack to the decay, it sounded very good. The one thing I only wish I had is of course a little bit more dynamics would have made this speaker even that much better.
We recommend the Tablet 3 for a small to medium sized room, and especially if you can add a subwoofer to it, just to give it that full range sound and that impact that we both found was a little bit missing from these speakers. For their age, the Tablet 3s feature a detail and accuracy that is very impressive by today's standards still.
So is the Tablet 3 worth it? I think so. The one problem is, are you going to be able to find them? At that price now, on average, I've been seeing them over the last 5 years selling anywhere between as low as $600 up to $800. I have a feeling it might even start going up from that. But at that price range, when you're comparing it to some of the modern day stuff, this, there is still something special about this. And the one thing is, if you think about it, so if you're able to get it at $800, you can match subwoofer with it. And then, you find just a good, whether it's a solid vintage amp. A lot of the newer stuff today will be able to drive this. For example, like the Hegel. You can even go with like an H90, any of the NADs I'm sure going to work, Cambridge Audio. I would say some of the more entry I would say kind of entry level price points, and then you have a really good package for the price. But this speaker though, if you do decide to hook it up to something even at a higher level, this will not disappoint, and I can guarantee you it's not going to be the weak link in the system.
The Tablet 3s definitely hold their own, and I'm taking them home.
That is crazy. Well, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, the stuff that he usually would say, and we'll see you in the next one.